Hi, and welcome to Chamber Chat. I'm Danielle McFadden, president of the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce, and this Inside Lowell podcast is coming to you from the WellPoint Studios. WellPoint, the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Washington Savings Bank, banking that feels like home. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank. TMI Properties, quality and value at every price point. Find your perfect space with TMI. Mahoney Oil, providing warmth and protection to generations of families since 1925. Greater Lowell Community Foundation, improving the quality of life in Greater Lowell through impactful strategic philanthropy. Francis E. Prevention Insurance, the agency Greater Lowell has counted on since 1982. Real Estate Ray Booten, licensed real estate agent and appraiser in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. And by the Massachusetts Pirates, bringing the action and excitement of arena football to the Mill City, and their season is starting this month, which is super exciting. What is also super exciting is we have our guest in here today. We have Peter White with SCORE Northeast. How are you, Peter?
I'm good, Danielle. How are you?
I am great. We met on a Zoom on a snowy day. The temperature is quite the opposite today.
Beautiful outside.
It is quite wonderful outside. Great to meet you in person. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am one of about 60 mentors in the SCORE Northeast Massachusetts chapter.
Wow, I didn't realize there were that many.
Right. And all we do is mentor and help small businesses. So that's the heart of the U.S. So I am retired. So I retired about 2 years ago from mostly the technology industry. So I worked in a lot of different companies, from Fidelity Investments to Dell EMC, as well as a number of smaller companies. And so in the smaller companies, you learn they have a startup feel to them. Mm-hmm. Along with that, I started my own business, when I was younger, as a side hustle, and eventually sold it. So I got some experience. Now, really, I focus in two areas. One is doing mentoring of small businesses, such as SCORE, but also with E4All. And I know you're
familiar with E4All. We love E4All and so fun. She's wonderful.
It's a great program.
Yes, it is.
And the second thing I do is help people that are transitioning into the technology world. How do they interview? How do they network? How do they find a job? And many of those things overlap. So
amazing.
It's a fun thing.
So you retire and you're like, I've got to keep busy.
That's it. Got to find something interesting. And small businesses are like really interesting.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to dive more into this conversation because there's just so much to talk about.
Sure.
Could you give a brief introduction to SCORE Northeast?
Sure. So first, SCORE is part of 240 chapters. So
I didn't realize there were that many. Oh, my gosh. So you think
that,
about the number of mentors just in SCORE Northeast, multiply that by...
And it's close to 10, 12,000
Wow,
mentors.
That's incredible.
Now, the really interesting part is we in Northeast Massachusetts have access to all of those, right? Wow. So I had a client who was like, I need to figure out how to do municipal funding. I'm doing a green energy thing.
Yeah.
And I have no idea. So I looked through all the Northeast Massachusetts people, and there's nobody that really did that as a specialty. So I got on SCORE.org. Here's the website, right? Here it is. And I said, let me see if I can find a mentor who does municipal funding. I found one in Idaho.
Wow. And so you could just call them right up?
Call them up, said, would you spend an hour with my client? Here we go. So, yeah.
And this is a free resource for businesses. I mean, you heard me, free.
Yeah, it is absolutely free. We're all volunteers. This is stuff we do because we love it, right? And so there's 10,000 across the U.S. There's 240 chapters. We do just tons of different things. We'll get into some of the details.
Yes, I'm so excited. Can you talk about some of the businesses that you've helped in Greater Lowell, and are there any trends in businesses seeking mentorship?
Yes. So first, let me start with numbers. So Greater Lowell, just last year, right, 2024, we helped 125 different businesses, called and said, can you help, right? We're on track for 200 in 2020.
So that's because you have the dream team.
We do have a good team. All right, so it's really great. The trends are really interesting. There's people that are just wanting to create a good idea and get started, and so that's like phase one is, I got an idea. What do I do with it? There are people that come with like, I have 4 ideas.
Oh my gosh.
What do I do, right? And then once they get an idea and they say, okay, how do I actually start it? I need a company. I need a company. Can I just do it by myself? I need insurance. Well, what about legal? Do I need an accountant? Do I need software? Like, what is it? The basics, right? So we help them get that. The third stage is we'll say, I want to grow. right? And we can get more into this later on, but every style of business, property manager, nursing software, you know, junk removal, everybody you can imagine.
Yeah.
There are so many wonderful ideas in Greater Lowell, and help 'em-
And between all the mentors, not only in your chapter, but throughout the country, I mean, there's probably somebody that's done something in that
there's
realm.
somebody that's done just about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, real estate people, lawyers, accountants, everybody. So
And
it's
think
really
about
kinda
it.
cool.
You're saying lawyers, accountants, like if you had to pay for this service, you'd be paying hundreds, thousands.
Well, but it's interesting. We don't actually do the work for you,
Right.
right? So we're
That's true.
mentors, we're guides, but we teach you what you need to know. And there are also free services out there. Harvard has a free legal service. There's Northeast Legal Aid downstairs, I think it is, down the hall,
Yeah.
right? There are different organizations that will provide you with some free resources to get started through
It's
law schools and
amazing.
accounting schools, right? That gets you going.
Yeah.
And then at some point, you've got enough revenue sales
Yeah.
that you can pay for your. So that's our
That's
goal is to
great.
help you get.
Yeah. What are the most common challenges small business owners are bringing to SCORE for guidance?
Yeah,
Good one.
that's an interesting question because they know their craft. They're making food, they're making, doing property management, but they don't know financial. I remember, one guy came to me and he's like, there's this thing, variable cost and fixed cost. I've heard of this. I have no idea what that is. So he found a sheet separate. So we spent an hour going through it, playing with the different kinds of numbers and showing him how his business fit into the financial spreadsheet. He's like, this is going to be such a difference.
Oh, that's amazing. And there's some people that probably feel like almost dumb that they don't know what it is and they don't want to ask. Never feel that way.
No.
It's your business. It's your livelihood. You have somebody here that wants to help you.
Right. Well, they know their business. They
Right.
just don't know the business of business, if you
Right.
will.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they say that like you could be really great at making cakes.
Right.
So you open up a bakery.
That's right.
But there's so much more that goes into it than simply
That's
just baking a really good
Probably the
cake.
second biggest thing I hear is, how do I get to my customer? How do I get more sale? And so that is a fun one. We start with a who's your customer, right? So we have someone build a customer persona,
Yeah.
right? Sally is 35 years old. She's got a family, but she really wants to do some exercise. And she hasn't exercised in a while. She's got this job on the side. She's got her kids she's raising. There's no time to exercise. So how does she find time? And so that is one persona for a fitness place.
I want to know how she finds the time. I'm like, you're minus the age. You're kind of speaking to me right now.
And then there's a person who's like, I'm retired, right? So there could be a Peter version who is retired, looking to stay in shape, wanting to gain a little muscle mass because I'm going to get old and decrepit if I don't fall over. So there's another persona, right? And so we take those people and personas that they make up and we say, okay, where do those people look for stuff? Do they look on social media, Instagram?
Yeah.
Do they look? No, old people don't look on Instagram, right? But they might look on Facebook because their grandchildren are on Facebook or something like that, right?
So
The
true. I
younger
love it.
people are going to be Instagram,
TikTok,
all those, right?
Yeah.
So we help them know who their customer is and then know how to find them. So
That's
it's
great.
a fun.
Gosh,
so those are two
that
big
part
ones.
is so fun.
Yep.
Can you walk us through the key services that SCORE offers, including we talked about mentoring, webinars, workshops?
Yes. So this is great. If you go to the score.org website, all these are listed out. Let me go.
And
through
we will include the links too when we post the podcast.
Perfect. First one is just general resources. So you go to the site and you say, I want an article on how to start a business. I want a blog post. This. I want a template spreadsheet that can give me. There's all kinds of resources that you literally can just download it.
Amazing.
The second thing is we have lots and lots of recorded webinars. So we've taught courses. People have been in person for some of them, but we also keep the recording. So now you can go back and say, there was this episode on how to do budgeting.
Yeah.
So I can go back and listen to this half hour, 1 hour, whatever podcast and learn about budgeting.
I love that because both of those resources, because a lot of times it's not a very convenient time when you're looking for these things. You're maybe inspired or you got woken up at night because something's bothering you or you're stressing about your business. You can go right on the SCORE website 24 hours a day.
And people also learn differently. Some people will learn by reading an article and that's fine for them. other people have to hear it and see it.
Yeah, it's so true.
All those are out there. So another one is live in person. So I just went to a workshop last week before last, on how to get AI into your business, how to make it work. And there's another one coming up on the SCORE Northeast.
Oh, excellent. We'll share that because we're like big into sharing the AI resources right now.
And AI is such a good resource as long as you don't think it's the answer.
Right.
It's the helper, the assistant that gets you started.
We call it our friend in the office. Let's check with our little friend.
That's right. But I can tell you, I've seen several business plans made by ChatGPT, and there's no meat. They have all the right categories.
Yes, yep.
They say some nice fluffy things, but I can't see that entrepreneur in that AI business plan. So yes, you can create a 30-page business plan through AI, but it's not you.
Yeah, I know you could literally say, create a 30-page business plan for a bakery.
Yes, and it will do that.
Cut it down to 25 pages. So it's going to, like you said, put some fluff in there.
Right. One of the things we learned in that series that we did, about a 3-hour thing with actually another chamber of commerce, North Reading.
Oh, excellent.
And it was get the right prompt and keep trying the prompt.
Yes.
So keep refining, keep having the ChatGPT do a better job. Well, I didn't like this, do this.
Yep.
I didn't like this, do this. And in that workshop, they did a simple, short elevator pitch.
That's great. Yeah, that is really fun.
Next resource is mentoring. And this one is the one we've talked about the most, which is you go to the site and you say, I could use a mentor, right? And it could be literally a one session, help me figure out this or that.
Yep.
Or it could be a series of, I want to start a business. How do I do it? All you do is you sign up and say, find me a mentor, name, address, phone number, and then a little bit about the business, a little bit about the problem you want to have. And that will help SCORE assign the right person.
So then you get the assignment as a mentor?
I'm one of 60
who
might get the assignment.
Great.
I tend to get a lot of software people because I did a lot in the software world. So
that's amazing. I remember when I met with you on the Zoom, I was saying that Eileen at Old Millhouse Coffee, when she started her business, it was the Artisans Exchange, and now it's Old Millhouse Coffee in Chelmsford, and she had 3 mentors, and she called them her 3 wise men. I love that. She's like, all right, I got to go. I'm going to meet with my 3 wise men.
That's right. And we show up on pitch contest slide decks, right?
Awesome.
As mentors on there sometimes.
That's great.
It's pretty fun.
Thank you for all that you do. This is amazing.
Yeah. Good.
So we talked a little bit about your background and expertise. Can you talk about some other SCORE mentors, what type of industries they come, the skills that they bring to the table?
Well, Northeast Massachusetts, there's only 60 of us.
Only
compared
60.
to the 10, 12,000 across the U.S., right? There's somebody who's done everything.
Yeah.
Right? I took a look through the roster and I said, so let me see if I can find some trends, right? You know, what are things that most people
Yeah.
There's a lot of financial background, a lot of business operation background.
Which are huge for any business, like
That's
if you to get a mentor in those 2 fields.
There's, marketing strategy, sales strategy, all those different strategies. And then there's the expertises across everything you can imagine.
Yeah.
And there's like one of this, one of this, and it goes on for pages.
That's amazing.
So we've got someone who's done just about everything.
Can you share examples of, well, we talked a little bit about this, but recent seminars or workshops?
Yes. The latest one I did was AI that I showed.
I love that.
There's every single month, there is one on how to start your business, right? It's
Awesome.
just a repeated one that comes out. And the ones, if you can catch one of the ones that's live, then you get to ask questions back and forth, right? So you can really be part of the, it's really, really good. So everything from how to do a budget. There's one on how to negotiate. There's one on AI that comes up on a regular basis. Popular.
Yeah.
There's one on how to do sales plan, marketing plan. There's one on social media. I mean,
awesome. Everything. Like pretty much anything that you'd be thinking about that you need in your business.
That's right.
How does SCORE help business owners not just start a business, but also grow and then eventually exit successfully if they choose to do so?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. There's 4 stages that we look at. That idea stage, right? So I have one client, he got on the thing and he had like 5 ideas. And he was just like all over the. So we spent the first 2 meetings just going through the ideas and saying, what's the likelihood of this one, of this one, and we narrowed it down to 2 that he then focus on. Say, okay, let me build these out a little bit more. So that's it. That's an idea stage, right? Then the next stage is, I've got it. I want to start it. I'm ready to go. I've got time set aside,
Yep.
right? I'm not full time yet. I'm doing part time, so it's a side gig. And it's like, what do I need? Right? Well, if you're doing fitness, you got to have insurance. If you're doing cake
Yep.
decorating, maybe not. Maybe you just do that on the side for someone, and then off you go. But we help you figure out what do you need, what type of company, LC, S corp. Can you do a sole proprietor partnership? So lots of little things like that.
It's so interesting and relevant having a mentor to do that, because before I started at the chamber, I started an event planning company very briefly, and just looking at that and saying, "Oh my God, how am I going to do this?"
Right.
It's overwhelming. So
That's
to
right.
have somebody there to support you is
Now, another
really
interesting
important.
part before I go on to the next stage is there's often two of us on the call. So we
Oh,
try to do what's
wow,
called
that's
co-mentoring.
great.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
you both bring such different perspectives, I'm sure.
that's
And
right. So
oh,
the woman you were
excellent.
talking about had our three wise men.
Yeah,
Well, it's two or three,
right.
right? That's the way
Yeah,
we
oh,
set it
that's
up.
great.
So the third stage is growth, right? So someone said, I've got this I've got an ongoing fitness business. I've been 3 years in business. I've got a loyal set of clients,
Yep.
but I've plateaued. I'm kind of stuck. Now what do I do? She said, and my lease is going to be up in about a year and a half, right? And great, you have tons of time. Let's work through your strategy. So, do you want a bigger place? Want two places? Do you want to
Yeah.
grow and expand that way? Or how do you think about it? So, we'll often take a person in that stage and say, so imagine it's a year from now, and there's an article about you in the Lowell Sun. What does it say? Get them to think in sort of
Yeah.
a vision way. And then if that works, then we'll go out 5 years. That now gives them two views of where they want to be short term
Yep.
and where they want to be longer term. I want to have property management. I want to have 500
Yeah.
apartment doors that I manage. And in a year, I want to have 100.
So important to take the time to do that too, because you can be so stuck in your business,
Right.
working in your business instead of working on your business.
Right.
And so it's so important to have.
Well, the other big benefit is it now allows us to help you now. So if you got, doing on the side 25, apartments,
Yeah.
and you want to get to 150, well, what's the plan, right? Do you need more people to get it? Do you need a handy person, now full-time employed as opposed to part-time, all every different plumbing, electrician,
Yeah.
things like that. So helping you think through all those little things. So,
Right.
and then the last stage is transition, right? I'm retired. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. My kids don't want to take this on,
It's
right?
exactly what I was thinking of, like the people who think that they're going to have their son or daughter take over and then they have no interest.
Yeah. Classic example of that around Lowell, Bang Laboratory,
Yeah.
right? Son did not want to take over,
Yeah.
and that was it.
Yeah.
Went through lots of different. Where finally,
Yeah.
I worked at.
You did. Oh,
Yeah. So anyway, those are the 4 stages, and we can help with everyone.
yeah, that's
So-
great. I mean, we do have businesses that will approach us and be like, I'm thinking of like trying to get ready to sell the business, because you can't just one day, or I mean, you probably shouldn't one day just be like, okay, I'm selling like
Right.
this year. You have to have that plan
You have to have it
to
planned.
work
Yep,
towards
and
it, and some things in place, right? So that if
That's
somebody
right.
wants to buy the business, you can say, well, here are the assets.
That's right. Well, I mean, my chiropractor, right, to move area. So he actually had someone that came in and transitioned several months
Yeah.
so that all of his clients got used to the new
That's
chiropractor
great.
and lost very,
Yeah.
very few. So
Huge for business.
it makes a difference.
What feedback have you received from businesses that have used scores, mentors, resources? What kind of impact have you seen?
Yeah, that is probably the most wonderful part,
Yeah.
right? Is that someone will come back and say, "I did it." They won their pitch contest,
Yeah.
or they got this extra sale they were really working, or they transitioned from I'm doing this personal coaching with students to now I have a business,
Sick.
right? And that just feels good to us
Yeah.
to share and celebrate that excitement. It happens all the time,
And
right?
that's why there's so many chapters and mentors, right? Because you
That's
are
right.
seeing the positive impact that
Yeah.
you are
And it's
providing.
really interesting. We try literally every single session to do some good, to make sure
Yeah.
that we're helping, right? Sometimes we don't have the best quote positive message because they need to hear a hard message.
Yeah.
But I think somebody again says, this is really helpful. I needed to hear this.
Great.
So it's
Yeah.
really good.
Awesome. How can our listeners engage with SCORE? Are there specific ways businesses can request mentorship, workshops,
Absolutely.
participate in office hours, all that fun stuff?
Absolutely. That is probably the easiest way. Score.org. How could they come up with an easier, simpler
They
website?
couldn't.
Yeah, that was good. So on the score.org website, and you can pick in the top left-hand corner where your zip code is.
Excellent.
And that will connect you to Northeast Massachusetts.
Great.
So now that's our score
Yeah.
locally. From there, you can sign up for our newsletter. So every week you'll get something email that says,
Great.
here's the latest webinars. Here's the latest, in-person workshops. Here's the connection with the Salem Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
Right, because we do that as
Yeah.
well.
Yep.
So all those different ways, that's probably number one. On the same place, you can say, I'd like a mentor. I just want to review this idea. I've had this business thing churning around in my
Yeah.
head. Is it worthwhile?
I mean, anybody listening right now, hop on and do that. If you could just have, like you said, just you're thinking of something or you have an issue that's keeping you up at night.
That's right.
Hop on now. There's no reason not to. It's a great resource.
Exactly. So that's the best way.
Excellent.
Right? Access to 10,000 mentors across the U.S.
Yeah, that's incredible. Is there anything else that we didn't touch upon that you want to talk about?
Let's see. I've got my list here. I think we've gotten through everything. I think one of the fun statistics, we talked about this in our first connection. In the year 2023, 31,000 new businesses were started through.
Wow, that's a staggering number.
152,000 jobs created. Yeah. 120,000 non-owner jobs. So employed people, not just the entrepreneur. So that's some really cool stats.
Yeah.
And we're here to help.
Yeah, I mean, those stats are, I'm sure, what motivate you and all the mentors to keep doing what you're doing. Well,
Really cool.
thank you for all that you do for SCORE. Thank you for all that you do for E4All, for the community.
That's it.
We're glad you retired and that you're lending all your time to small businesses.
Well, we'd also talked about maybe doing some office hours or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we will be doing that for sure.
We're happy to come.
Yeah, we love what you're doing with the Salem Chamber. I love Renus over there. So yeah, we'd love to do something here as well.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you so much. This was great.
You're very welcome.
And we appreciate you being here.
Okay.
And thank you all for tuning into a really fun edition of Chamber Chat. We will be back again soon. Thank you.